Yep. Good evening, everyone.
Sidetracked with that.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. With the Pledge of Allegiance, we have, with our tradition, we have a special guest to lead us in the pledge. Who do we have? There he is. All right. You'll join this young man in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Good job. Who do we have here?
You'll get to meet him here in a minute.
All right. We'll meet him here in just a second. Very good. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the October regular board meeting. We have called the meeting to order. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
Yep, there are no adjustments to the agenda.
Very good. We have recognitions this evening.
Yep, Mr. Roberts. We'll make you come all the way back up.
Well, good evening. I have the honor of recognizing Ridpath Student of the Month. This is Kingston. And he was recognized by his first grade teacher, Mrs. Crone. Kingston is not a quitter. He perseveres through challenging tasks in the classroom and always tries, no matter how hard something might seem. He will try on his own and then will ask for help when needed. We love watching him as he figures something out and love seeing the look and smile on his face when he succeeds. So way to go, Kingston. Thanks for persevering.
And I'll add that he says a heck of a Pledge of Allegiance.
He did a nice job.
Great job.
Good job, buddy.
Scooper.
All right, I have the honor of recognizing Paxton tonight. Paxton is such a joy to have. He gives the best hugs every morning. It's one of the highlights of my day. And so he was nominated because he's a delight to have in class. He is always smiling and has a calm personality. He never gives up even when the work is hard. We've watched him try math problems over and over again until he gets them correct. And we're amazed at his effort and his determination. He asks for help when he doesn't understand something, and he doesn't get frustrated. He is a marvelous example of perseverance. So we are really proud of you and the hard work that you do.
So our TZ Perseverance Student of the Month is Uriah Trejo, and I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Dickey, his teacher, to talk about why.
So I nominated Uriah. When Uriah came to me the first week of school, he was very overwhelmed with fifth grade. Fifth grade was very hard. He was very frustrated. We had a lot of tears. Even I shed some tears. And so we had to have some long talks about what it meant to ask for help when you're struggling and, helping yourself when you need to reach out to others to help you get by. And I have to say that Uriah has worked so incredibly hard. He's completely independent now, and not only that, but he made AB honor roll this 9 weeks.
Wow.
And so he is just such a great example to everyone in our class of what it means to work hard even when the going gets tough. So I'm so proud of him. He's going to do great things. So watch out for this young man.
Outstanding.
right, I have Elin Cooper. Neither one of us are good with spotlights of any kind. So she's like, do I have to go up? I was like, if I do, you do. We got to do this together. So Elin was nominated by the entire 7th grade. Each one nominated something about her. So I'm going to read these off. Elin can have some complication from health issue, but she never complains. No matter how bad she might be feeling, she always does what is asked of her and completes her work. Elin's a great student. She understands the importance of listening and following directions each and every day. Her wonderful disposition is evident daily. She is a real trooper and a joy to have in class. Elin is such a hardworking student. She is a leader in the classroom and chooses to do the right thing every day. Elin works hard each day. She has overcome obstacles that most students do not even know about. She never gives up on herself and perseveres and is determined to overcome these obstacles. Elin always has a smile and brings out the best in others. Elin is a wonderful student to have in class. She always works hard and never complains. She starts and ends her day with a smile. We are very proud of you. So this is Thank you. And Tammy will go this way.
Mr. Kuhn for the high school.
My name is Logan Kuhn, and both Miss Berry and I nominated Colleen Bosick to be the Student of the Month. Colleen demonstrates perseverance because she knows how to fail. As a runner, Colleen knows that success is found through small, incremental gains over the long term, with lots of failures in between. While some students stare blankly at a problem and ultimately just end up asking for help, Colleen tries something. She tries something. It might not be correct, but she always makes an attempt. And when she fails, she doesn't take it personally, but asks for help. While some students fear the appearance of looking stupid by asking for help, Colleen knows that by asking for help sooner leads to success. Colleen has come in during 0 hour to ask questions or retake quizzes on multiple occasions in order to reach success. And while some students give up after a few attempts, Colleen keeps failing and keep getting help until she succeeds, because Colleen knows success is a marathon and not a sprint. And so she perseveres. Congratulations.
And then Mr. Kuhn for the committee, we have one more recognition on your behalf. We have a couple of extra students who are recognized this month from the high school. Okay. Yep, and then we have the backdrop set up for pictures.
I would also like to recognize Tai Ishikawa. Come on up. Tai Ishikawa has been recognized as a National Merit semifinalist, correct? Tai is, I just wrote a recommendation for him, and I called him an erudite polymath, a scholarly person who knows a plethora about numerous subjects. He can speak eloquently on any number of subjects. In math, he's one of perhaps a dozen students who have ever scored a perfect on any one of my calculus exams, because the exams are just incredibly difficult, and he did it twice. He's currently working on a project where he's, a computational chemistry project where he's analyzing DNA and trying to determine how two benzene rings, when stacked, how they affect the structure of DNA. the best part of it is for him, it's play. He enjoys it and it's play, and he is a phenomenal student. And I greatly look forward to seeing where the future takes him. Thank you.
For students of the month, I'd like to go take a picture in the backdrop. Wait.
I'd also like to add to that, if you guys don't know what it takes to be a semifinalist for National Merit, he scored in the top 1% of all of the individuals in the United States that have taken the PSAT. So that is tremendous, Ty. Good job. I'm going to announce a few other achievements for some of our students. Addison Fowler and Landon, if you guys want to come on up. And Penny is not here, I don't believe. So Penelope Cummings and Landon Miller, they've earned recognition from College Board's Big Future national program through their hard work in the classroom and culminating PSAT scores. To achieve this, Landon and Penny had to score within the top 10% of all rural and small town students in the state of Indiana on the PSAT, or they could score a 3+ on 2 or more AP exams, while also holding a 3.3 GPA or higher. Penny and Landon have been exemplary student athletes. Just this year, Penny won a sectional with our soccer team. Landon is a state qualifier just this weekend in cross country. Good luck, Landon. They have many other accolades in previous years as well, participating in multiple extracurricular activities and achieving academic all-state honors in both of their fall season sports. Congratulations to you and Penny, and great job. Addison Fowler has been named a Lilly Endowment Scholarship finalist for Putnam County. The endowment believes that education at all levels is important to the personal, civic, and economic well-being of Indiana's residents and communities. This program aims to encourage many of Indiana's most talented residents to attend one of the state's higher education institutions and ultimately pursue careers in Indiana. The scholarship awards full tuition, required fees, and book stipend for 4 years, and recipients may attend any public or private Indiana four-year college or university. Addison has a tremendous academic record, has been an amazing student athlete, involved in extracurriculars such as band, DECA, and the Ink Pot, and volunteered in and outside of school throughout her time at Greencastle High School. We are absolutely thrilled for her and proud of what she's already been able to accomplish. We will await the announcement, hoping for the best. We'll wait as patiently as we possibly can. Great job, Addie. These are outstanding achievements by 3 of our high school students. Thank you.
Yes, we have the backdrop set up for pictures. Obviously, a lot of outstanding accomplishments.
Yeah, congratulations to
Really
all of
proud
our
of
students.
kids.
That's fantastic. Good deal. All right. Moving on to public comments. I don't have anything on the sheet for public comments. Am I missing anyone? Going once, twice, and it's gone. Okay. All right, moving on to the approval of the consent agenda, which consists of meeting minutes of the executive session meeting minutes, September 12th, 2024, regular board meeting minutes, September 23rd, 2024, which are posted on the door, allowance of claims, financial report, and personnel reports, part 1 and 2. Mrs. Roman.
Yes, hello everyone. First in your packet, we've got 2 regular payrolls for the month of September. The first one, $455,697.17, and as usual, we have payroll taxes and retirement that comes along with the payroll. For that 9/13 payroll, it was $127,219.90, and then we had a second regular payroll dated September 27th. That total payroll was $471,223.65. And along with those taxes and retirement, you had the $130,691.60. As you reviewed the regular payrolls, did anyone have any questions about those? No? Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to a list of prepays, which was quite lengthy for the month of September. We had some pretty big ticket items. We had a bus lease payment you saw on there for about $271,000. We also had a partial payment for construction works that came out of the newest bond for $470,000. And then we just had a list of regular prepays. As you glanced through them, did anyone have any questions about anything on those? No? Okay. Total prepays then for the month of September was $1,289,115.43. And then next in your package, you're going to have a list of claims dated today, October 28th. As you had a chance to take a look at the claims, regular claims, was there anything that jumped out at you that you have a question about? No? Okay. The total for claims dated today, October 28th, was or is $834,543.21. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to the financial report. You'll see in your packet a fund report, a balance in all funds. A couple of things I did want to bring to your attention because they are some negatives, and I think it's probably worth our while to explain why some of these funds are in the negative. We actually apply for grants. One of the big ones is Title I. In the last 2-3 years, it's becoming a habit of the state not to approve it till very late into the year. So, but in the meantime, we need to continue to pay folks. So you're going to see a couple things here on Title I. It's about $55,000 in the negative. You probably noticed, and then the same thing. Well, and just to explain this to you, is special ed. That's basically how much our expenditures are every single month that come out of special education. So that's why you're seeing a negative $53,000 on there. But I think that's worthwhile for you to take a look at. And in the future, if you have any questions about those negative balances, don't hesitate to ask about those. So at the end of September, dated 9/30/2024, balance in all funds was $10,986,916.10. And then next in your package, you're going to see a depository statement, bank to fund balance. As you'll see, we are balanced with the banks in all funds. If we were not, we would not see those zeros at the end there. So that's good. That's where we want to be. We want to be balanced every single month with the bank. And then we've got a fund transfer, which looks kind of extensive this month. But again, those are just really me needing to transfer from one bank to another to cover expenses. And if you go back to those big expenses of $470,000, $271, all those, okay, those are all paid with hard copy checks and paid out of a certain bank. So I needed to transfer from one bank to another to cover those checks. So total transfers for the month of September, $1,723,477.40. And then you're going to have a list here of our bond expenditures. We did not have anything in September for bond, our GO 2024. You'll see that list next month. But we did have some expenditures for bond 2021. Total to date as of 8/31 is $32,749,262.40. And then there were no expenditures in bond 2022, so we're still at total expenditures of $4,327,210.12. And I think that's the end of my list. So pending any questions, I'd like to submit for approval.
Any discussion on that? No? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. We're going to move on to reports. Do I have the GCTA here today?
I heard from them. They do not have anything.
Okay. Very good. Mrs. McPherson?
Yes, so as Kelly mentioned, our elementary schools receive Title I funding, which is through the United States Department of Ed and Indiana State. They have changed some of the requirements for our paraprofessionals that would create a burden to our staff members. And part of that includes paraprofessionals in Indiana districts and schools receiving Title I funds. They have adopted the ParaPro assessment developed by the educational testing service, where they're requiring paraprofessionals to take this assessment, which is expensive and lengthy, as well as requiring IAs have no less than 2 years of college. So this is quite a burden on our IAs, not only on trying to retain our staff, but then, asking them to go back to school. So to respond to this, the IDOE has created this EdFlex waiver application where schools can apply to basically have a waiver of these two requirements as long as they have training available for their paraprofessionals. So as a requirement to apply for that EdFlex waiver, which is what I would like to do, I just needed to explain this publicly. We're also going to have information on our website under our Title I page that anyone can view some information about it. But the training that we are looking at, as you remember, we received the paraprofessional grant in the spring. So we're going to use some of those dollars to pay for modules through our IEPTA Center, some OG training. We've already had some of our IAs OG trained, and some are already lined up to have in December, as well as some paraeducator training that Mrs. Sullivan is going to do in January. So all of that will be included in the application, but I just wanted to share that with you, and if you had any questions about that. I also want to share our Arts and Innovation Expo that the Greencastle High School is going to be sponsoring and hosting on November 23rd. So this was the brainstorm of our Tiger Cub Collective team, which is Mrs. Jadell, Mrs. Frank, and Mr. Hale, or Dr. Hale. This will take place Saturday, November 23rd from 9 a.m. to 1 at the high school. The event will bring together our school and community members, and it will showcase art, music, crafts, inventions, comedy, and people are signing up to have live demonstrations. If anyone is interested in requesting a booth or sign up to lead a demonstration or even sponsor, they can contact the high school. It's really exciting. Community members are becoming involved in this. It's going to be a great Saturday for our students, staff, and community. And that's all I have.
All right. That was Saturday, November 23rd.
Saturday, November 23rd, 9 a.m. to 1.
Okay, so I'll send that out in the email too, so that we have it.
All right. Thank you. All right. So I don't have any further from Mr. McPherson. All right. Mr. Gibbons.
Yeah, so I just have a few items this month. This month's gone by really fast, really quickly. And although we didn't necessarily see the outcome that we had wanted at homecoming, we held our first annual staff tailgate and saw many board members, many staff members. We probably had 75 to 100 people there. It was really, really awesome. It was nice to see the staff come together and just many different groups of staff members come together and just celebrate some fellowship before going over to the stadium to support our kids. So it was just a really, really nice event. We look to continue that and maybe introduce some kind of winter event too for winter sports. Excuse me. Over fall break, the new middle school furniture was delivered and installed, and some of the other furniture removed and taken to some of our other schools and buildings. From what I saw a lot of excited kids and excited staff members. From what I understand, I think that furniture was from like the 89 or 90 renovation, the stuff that we moved out. So it was over 30 years old and kind of well past its life. So it was kind of nice to see that. Over fall break, the TZ Fab Lab was painted in preparation for some new cabinetry and some new furniture coming to that space with just the tools and the kind of learning that space kind of help facilitate kind of the environment needed for that. And so that was the first step. So here is November 6th, so next week, the furniture and casework for that space will arrive and allow her to get organized and kind of group her kids how it's needed. So a lot taking place with that. And then the last item I have this month is we have we have an update from Mrs. Clements and Mrs. Eldridge on one of our goals in our strategic plan. They're the chairs for this particular goal, and so we want to share a little bit of an update on some progress.
So we had a strategic plan goal 4, and our goal was, as stated before, we worked with Dr. Balch and came up with goals and mission vision. And one of our parts was to kind of survey the entire staff and see ways that they would feel with ours, like how to retain staff and keep them motivated and all that kind of good stuff, like keeping our good ones here. So goal 4 is providing necessary resources in a supportive and collaborative workplace. And so we broke that down into some goals and action items and success measures. So do you want to take that?
Sure. So there were 3 action items we felt like to meet this goal. The first one was identifying the means and resources by which to support and recognize our staff professionally. We really didn't have anything in place to recognize our folks and all the great things that they're doing. Action item 2 was to develop cohesive schedules for collaboration during contract time, which was another wish list item from our staff. And then our third action item was to develop a plan for teachers to implement critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and communication.
So our success measures for number 1 was to create Teacher of the Year recognition program across the district. And so the idea that we presented to our
something we can see.
What's that?
No, that's not in your packet, but I can send it. I'll send it to you.
I have my notes too.
I can share this stuff with you.
Thank you.
The Teacher of the Year we've presented to our building union level leaders to see their ideas and suggestions on our proposal, which is to, at each building level, peers, so other teachers will nominate a teacher for the GMS Teacher of the Year. So that will be like that for every building. And then once we get one of those, I would write a letter. Each building principal would write a letter of recognition for recommendation, and that would be presented. And we're still kind of working on the who's and the what's and all of that, but possibly presented to the board to select a Teacher of the Year for the corporation. But there would be a Teacher of the Year for each building, and then one for the corporation, which would then be sent on to the Indiana State Teacher of the Year, which is a wonderful program that nominates teachers from across the state, and that's something that I'm not sure if we've done that here recently before, but this would be a nomination from peers, which I think is a great positive part of that, and then continuing over for Indiana Teacher of the Year, and we're within all of the application guidelines and everything like that, so time frame will work out well.
And the second measure was to monitor our master schedules to make sure that we were developing those cohesive schedules. So those have all been in place. There are common planning times as much as possible, and yearly PD plans have been implemented that as well.
And the third success measure was to initiate the PLC Summit. That was what we held in the summertime with Carrie Rosebrock, and then align efforts across the district, which is our Wednesday PLC meetings, aligning that within everyone is doing it, but then also providing professional development with Carrie Rosenbrock throughout the school year to continue to support not only our leaders, but teachers in each building. So we work with central office to align how many we are able to have based on our needs from each building. So those are kind of the goals that we had. We were tasked with goal 4, and this was using the survey from our teachers, how we kind of aligned everything together to stay with our goal and our focus. So we're still kind of working on that Teacher of the Year flow and things like that, but you'll be able to see the ideas presented at this time. That's it. Do you guys have questions?
Yeah, so I'm curious to see the results of the survey. To see, I assume you picked the ones that were highlighted the most
Correct,
for
yes.
that,
Right.
and then some of the other stuff, and then is it going to be like done again? Is this an ongoing thing? Is this
Yeah,
something
so the
that's
goals are never, we're always at the drawing board with that and trying to see like, this is what will stick also, what was meaningful and purposeful through that. So that'll be on our timeline that we have laid out. Dr. Bulch kind of laid that out for us. This is like, I think we put it for a 4 to 5 year outlay, but you're always like revisiting it.
And then did you track the responses, like how many you got? What was the percentage of teachers that actually
So
participated?
Yes, well, each building principal sent it out themselves, and then they reported that back into each goal. So each goal kind of we sent out questions from Dr. Bulch, and then that was presented back to us from the building principals, and then we colored it, like
Sure.
highlighted which one was the most.
Do the commonalities. But yeah, every voice was heard and voted in the document.
So we had 100% participation?
I don't know if
I was like, when you asked that, I'm like, I can't remember off the top of my head if we had like a count exactly what that was, but it was sent out and we gave everybody like a month to get it done. And then we actually met with, we had a time after school or before school where people could come in if they wanted to and learn more about the goals and the plans that we had. So that was a volunteer basis if they wanted to know more. So that was the first year for it. I'm sure we could revisit how we did that too. But I don't know off the top of my head.
That's okay.
What that
Is
percentage was.
that information that you have?
Yeah, we could look for that. I doubt that we had 100%
Sure.
I do have
participation,
them.
but
It is
is
very
an
gaudy
process.
colored coded thing. I will just tell you that right now. I ran out of colors, but
And it was discussed in staff meetings, so I would say the majority of, most members are present during this as well. So.
But it's a continuous. Right now it's phased out in 3 years, and it's kind of a rolling document. So as we work through and we achieve some of our goals or some of our benchmarks, obviously it's our goal to either further enhance those or look for new and additional ones. So it's an ongoing process.
Would you be able to send me questions and survey that was sent out too?
Yeah.
Was it anonymous?
yes. And we did a lot of, each building principal might have handled it differently, but I can get you how it came back to us.
Okay. That's
how
great.
it was
That'd be
kind
great.
of collected. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
All right. Is that all you have, Mr. Gibney?
Yep, that's all I have this month.
Okay, we have no old business at the moment, so we'll move on to new business. We have approval request for the adoption of the capital projects plan, school budget replacement plan, and 2025 budget-related resolution.
Yep. So this is the final step in our budget process locally. The county council did their part, and so now it's time for our board to adopt these things. And obviously, we've discussed these previously. We've met all statutory requirements, and we'd like to move forward with sending these items in and finalizing all of our budget items.
Okay. Discussion. Excuse me.
No.
All right, hearing none, can I get a motion? Okay, sorry. I have a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. All right, next I have approval request for the 2024-25 collective bargaining agreement between Greencastle Community School and Greencastle Classroom Teachers Association.
Yeah, so it's exciting, as we highlighted last Thursday during our tentative agreement hearing and meeting, which we discussed the terms and accepted public comment. Pending board approval tonight, we're making another significant investment in moving forward compensation for our teachers. Total over $553,000 in additional teacher compensation. So that affects salaries, that affects increases in the ECA schedule, and that affects additional contributions in health insurance. Our beginning or first year teachers, moving them from $45,000 per year to $46,800. Beginning teachers with a master's degree from $46,000 to $47,800. Overall, the lowest amount outside of, so a returning teacher to Greencastle The average is $2,736 in additional compensation. To a teacher at the top of the scale, $4,612. So a considerable investment, and then increasing the health insurance contribution for a family plan from $14,500 to $15,500, so an additional $1,000. Or those participating in a single plan from $6,100 to $6,600 for $500. And then with the ECA index, obviously we made some minor adjustments, but the biggest one there is adding middle school and high school FFA stipends since we began our ag program and are starting with FFA. I think it's important to note that our new money, so our money that we receive in addition for this next fiscal year and state tuition support, we only received $231,840. So we are going above and beyond and making a dent in moving pay for our teachers. So I think that's something to be recognized and or celebrated than just competing around the states and just recognizing that it's difficult being a teacher and all that they do for us. So just wanted to kind of provide some highlights on that. I did provide to you the red line agreement that highlights those items, and I'll have a final clean copy for signature from Michelle Cooper, our attorney, in the next day or so. But we are seeking approval of that collective bargaining agreement.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, can I get a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. All right. Next, I have an approval request for compensation adjustments.
Yep. So as is the case every year, when we adjust the compensation for our certified staff, we also look to our other employee groups. And so in your board packet, we're seeking approval to move forward with compensation adjustments for salaried employees, and that's a 3% increase over last year. Classified hourly employees, a 50-cent an hour increase. Also a 3% increase for our bus drivers and our athletic director. And then in addition to salary increases, increasing the insurance contribution for those folks as well in the same manner, so an additional $1,000 for those participating in a family plan, and an additional $500 for those participating in a single plan.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
So moved.
All right, can I get a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion.
And the effective date for that will be December 1st for those groups. Our payroll department, everybody's already started working on the changes because obviously there's a lot of information to sort through and make sure teacher contracts are correct and any increases are accurate. So there's a lot of planning and preparation in that. So thank you for that, and thank you for your commitment to our staff.
Thank you for working hard to make sure our folks are taken care of. Definitely. All right, we have an approval request for Blakely's flooring proposal for Greencastle Middle School.
Yep, in your packet is a proposal. You might recall that in the building project, it didn't. We weren't able, obviously, to touch every area in all of our schools, but in particular the middle school. There's some additional flooring that needs replaced. So with the latest bond issue, what we'd like to do is to continue with that, the plan to replace flooring throughout the middle school and the first area, really to attack is the hallway, the corridors throughout the building, and making it match with the updated LVT in base that was added during the middle school project. Blakely's is actually the company, the vendor that did the work, and we have a bid and a quote from them to complete this work for $81,590. And we're looking to do this either after hours or potentially during a break, just to continue to obviously get our facilities cleaned up. This will be paid for out of Bond 2024, and then even have plans with them while they're here to survey some of our other classrooms and spaces at the middle school, because some of the carpeting and flooring in those spaces is really past its life. It needs to be addressed as well. So just seeking approval to move forward with this proposal, so that way I can contact them and we can get on their calendar.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, can I get a motion?
So moved.
All right, you gonna have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That request was carried. All right, next I have approval request for transportation center asphalt repair.
Yeah, so if you visit, if you've been over to our transportation center lately, you'll notice that we have several large sections of asphalt where you can see mud and dirt coming up through the asphalt. And then along the bus garage bays, you can see where, I don't know what the correct terminology is for, but you can kind of see ruts in the asphalt from the weight of the buses and to where over the years the subgrade has failed. And so obviously we have a little bit of a mess on our hands with that, and we'd like to cut out those poor areas of asphalt and correct the subgrade, and then put back the asphalt in some of those middle areas of the lot, whereas directly along the garage bays, actually putting in a 16-foot concrete apron, so that way we don't have the rutting and the issues with that. This project, okay, thank you for that. I always mix up that timeline. So this is original just issue from 2016. Unfortunately, wasn't a part of that, but we have to correct that and fix that. And so we have a quote from McGath Concrete for $290,000 to do that work. We're seeking approval now, but that work likely won't take place until the summertime, to where our buses obviously have to go in and out of the garage bays, and so we'll have to work through that with transportation. But we'd like to get it approved and then be able to get on their schedule, and this would also be paid for out of Bond 2024.
So this is gonna fix it, like it. We won't have this issue again in another 10 years.
Nope, we shouldn't. Nope.
Is there any, been any discussion about the draining problem with those two spots? I know when water stands there and it stood there ever since it was 3 weeks old.
Yeah, it's a low spot now just because it's been rutted out, and I think that's why it's
because that's what's
holding
actually
water.
created the
It's
spot that's really bad.
Yeah, it's a subgrade issue. The subgrade just didn't get compacted hard enough. I don't know if they did
Just a
proof
thought.
rolls. But yeah, our owner's rep is involved in that, and obviously there may be some, once they get that cut out and dug up, they might have to do some additional remediation. Like this is kind of how they had to do.
Talk something about one
big
time.
high school lot.
Excuse me, putting the drain in there. Somebody had talked. I don't know where it was the late Danny Green or not. Or
Okay.
somebody.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
I'm not either.
Do you know who did the work the first time?
That's great.
Schmidt and Keymark, I think.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. Excuse me. All right, I have an approval request for a land use agreement.
Yep, so in here, in your packet, this is something that we discussed, I think we've discussed for a couple of months now, or either a couple of months ago, I apologize, can't remember. But to utilize the land behind the transportation center, some of that acreage, to turn that into to row crops. As a result, there'll be a donation to our Ag and FFA program, and then there'll also be some potential opportunities, some learning experiences with that for the kids to partner, kind of learn from one of our local farmers. So I have an example of that agreement in your packet. At the end of that agreement, I don't know who put. There's some incorrect dates in that, so I'm obviously going to have to clean this up with the correct dates. But the terms of the agreement are listed here, the financial arrangement, to see the soil conditions. Obviously, they're not going to be allowed to have hunting rights on the land, and then they're going to access how they will access our property as well from Martinsville Street. We've already worked with some property owners in the neighborhood. We had a shed that was on our land from one of the homeowners, and we worked with them. That shed has since been relocated. And one time there were also some vehicles, and those vehicles are no longer there either.
Okay. Do you have any discussion?
So the FFA kids are going to have an opportunity to go out there and possibly in the future work with Mr. Sutherland here. And
yep, that's the goal under the guidance of Mrs. Webster.
And all we are doing is giving the land, and then they're taking, I'm assuming he's taking care of everything that is needed to farm the land?
Yep, and then he's making a $2,000 donation.
Very cool. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, can I get a motion?
Make a motion be approved.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. Next, I have an approval request for, looks like 3 or 4 donations. Would you like to read those, Mr. Young? You want me to read them? Okay, that's very good. We have Putnam County Hospital to Greencastle High School Athletics for $40,000. We have T-Mobile to Greencastle High School Athletics for $1,000. Mary Allison's Trust to Greencastle High School Art Department for $2,600. And then Mary Allison Children's Trust to Greencastle Middle School Operation Read Fund for $1,500. I can't talk tonight. All right. Do you have any discussion on it? All right. Hearing none, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and 2 seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion will carry. Thank you very much. All right. Next, we have the first reading for the Neola policies, a special update June 2024 legislative changes, volume 36, number 2. And I'm not going to read those. That's you.
Yeah, yeah, and this is just a first reading this month, so no formal action required by the board. But we have a couple. There's essentially 3 sets of Neola updates. The Edgar UGG volume 36, number 2, and a lot of those involve finances and are related to updates from the federal government. The June 2024 special update is a result of the state legislature, specifically makes updates to personal communication devices and attendance policies within schools. And then, excuse me, the Edgar UGG was its own separate. And then we have volume 36, number 2. And that's the final set that makes updates. And again, as a result of the most recent legislative session, it revises or even makes some updates to some of the board bylaws and policies and procedures that are irrelevant, combine some policies. But those are in your packet and no actions required this month. We'll bring those back next month. And if you have any questions in the meantime, you are welcome to reach out.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on that before we move on?
Nope.
Okay. Excuse me. All right. Do we have any other business?
I do not.
Okay. Do I have anything from the board? Okay. I have to say the inside the senior day that we had over here the other day.
Senior seminar.
That was
Yeah, we
pretty
hosted-
phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because we hosted all 4 senior classes from the county schools while everyone else was taking PSAT. We had a lot of different activities. I saw in the banner article we had some groups of kids just learn something simple, how to change a tire. Saw they read the online version of it.
My son's friends very uncomfortable to take. I mean, that sounds bad, but she didn't like the fact that when she was changing a tire, I was up there taking pictures.
You can
I
just
thought it made a good picture, and I didn't have to ask for anything.
you can just leave that comment out of your article tonight.
Then there were some other items with like Ivy Tech programs. Just a whole. There were some that the kids were funneled and all went to, and then they had some choice and some freedom. So I felt like it was a really good use of the time, and especially with kind of a fragmented day, just to give our kids an awesome learning experience. And it was nice to host all 4 of the county schools, and all 4 of the county schools I felt like got along and did a good job. So that was a nice way to use our new space.
We also had that day. Then we have so that some were taking SAT, and we had a freshman
Freshman
boot camp.
Yes.
boot
Yep.
camp.
Thank you. Yep.
A couple of our high school PLCs have been working on this, helping our freshmen understand high school and credits and procedures and things like that. So they all work together and have rotating sessions for each of the students to attend. So
Great.
almost like their own freshman seminar.
Yeah,
It was a great day. They did, Mrs. Goodpaster and Mr. McMichael did a great job organizing all of that.
And then that same day we had I can't remember if it was band or choir.
Yes, we had.
Because last week was
We had
both
the
band and choir.
concert on Wednesday
2 awesome
and the band
performances.
Thursday.
We hosted youth league football banquet. We had multiple different practice going on. I mean, the connector and the high school space, it was buzzing. And that was it was just really nice to see that space being utilized by the kid and the community, and that's why we moved forward and doing that. It was just really awesome.
Yes, it was.
We heard a lot of good comments on that stuff.
Yeah. All the lights working.
Yeah, it was nice to be in Parker and actually be able to see us.
It was very nice. We did not hear the mini flat from the back, so it was very nice.
And the carpets were cleaned
Yep,
inside Parker,
yeah.
so they look phenomenal as well. So
Yep.
good job to your folks on that.
Very good. Just working on continuing to enhance our spaces the best we can.
A lot of good painting, stenciling on the walls. Great.
Yep.
It's coming along.
Yep, sure is.
On a completely different note, do we know, have our students taken the benchmark for iLearn assessment?
The first
checkpoint. Do we know when we might be getting data back from that? And is our curriculum aligning so that they're actually testing what the students know?
So our reading curriculum is aligning closer than our math curriculum. We're having to make a few more adjustments in our math just on the pacing of it.
Okay.
We sent home the individual student reports. There was a notice that went out Friday to the parents. So those reports have been posted to Skyward. The window doesn't close for checkpoint 1 until November 15th.
Okay.
So we don't have any comparable data right now with other schools around the state until that time. And so my plan is once we have that information, we also have a middle of the year assessments for Dibbles and iReady coming up. I'm going to do like a middle of the year assessment overview with everyone like in our January board meeting is my hope for that. So,
okay.
But we had a lot of positive feedback from the teachers, like in terms of the checkpoint said what they were going to assess, and that's what they assessed. And the IDOE is releasing a lot of new resources for the teachers to use, and Mrs. Eldridge and Mrs. Clements and I are going to dive into those on Friday.
Okay,
Great. But,
thank you.
but to kind of further with the question, it's a pilot year
Yeah.
Right,
for the island
sure.
checkpoint, so we didn't make any drastic decisions or changes in pacing or order that we're teaching things.
We're just
So-
kind of making notes for next year so that when it is like a full-on assessment that counts, we will be better prepared.
Okay,
They're
I just
aligned.
didn't know if we were aligned or realigning or how that was going to work.
Yep, that's kind of what we're working on this
Okay,
year.
very good.
Making sure we're ready.
Okay.
Very good. We've got a lot of exciting things that have occurred in sports and a lot of good, exciting upcoming things in sports as well. So good luck to our boys on Friday night. So, very good.
And
Okay.
I'm glad that we're hosting and not
Yeah.
driving another 2 hours.
Very commanding win 2 hours away. Okay, do we have anything further? Hearing nothing further, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you everyone for coming.
Bring on.